everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we hide? It's one sea, one tide, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time to stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright, peace. Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? It's one sea, one tide, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time to stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright, make peace, peace together. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I had to get my wife's medicines, so traffic was crazy getting back home.
Don't expect it to happen too often, but because I guess being on a clear night, there was more traffic outdoors, and people are just wanting to spend I guess the longer evening traveling. But I'm here. Thank you guys for being part of this. I'm actually in Facebook as well as YouTube. Yeah, if you go on my page, you'll see I'm on both pages, and it's called Shadow Chasing. The reason why some of you guys may be asking questions like, why am I calling it Shadow Chasing? Well, number one, we're always chasing our shadows. So, you know, we're always curious about what's happening on the other side. And plus, I also had the good fortune of being sent that message from Spirit when they said to me, Derek, do you want to make some changes a little bit here? If you want to stay on YouTube, you're gonna have to make some decisions. So I thought, okay, fine. I'll have to make an effort to because basically I got too many strikes on my Between Two Worlds radio page and on the last YouTube. And they told me that I wasn't going to be back or allowed to return until late February. And I thought, gee, I must have really hit some nerves. And which I know I did. And they didn't like what I talked about. And normally it was supposed to be my second strike. But they, no, you went too far. So, anyways, I was quickly eating some food before I actually got on. But the funny part of this is they just finished sending me another new notification, new standards, okay? And they're making it now that zero tolerance, zero tolerance of any indication of what we are up against, okay? No matter if it's about the big C or any government, if you say those words by any means of negatively, you're out of here and you're gone. They're making sure you don't come back, period. So they're scared. They're absolutely scared. I got my wife's pen today. I'm using it. A little bit of jewel there, guys. So, um, yeah. So the thing is that what I find interesting is that when you start hitting nerves, and I thought, okay, you know, I decided to make my new flyer. This is a temporary flyer, actually. It's not a permanent one because I will go back to Between Two Worlds after because that's my. I've had that show, the name brand show. I've had that for 21 years. I've had that for that long, and 21 years, and whether it's through radio and or internet radio, you name it, I've had it for that long. And so this is basically what I decided to do is make a little bit of a switch, go differently of the name, and just to see how many people I can draw in. Now, if you ever see my new banner on my Facebook page, you'll understand why. And each of those pictures that's on my banner, they're symbolic. They have a purpose. They're symbols. There's a reason. So if you guys ever get a chance, have a close look to my banner, and you'll see some of those things that have a purpose. Every one of them has a purpose. Okay? There's a reason why I'm still doing this. Because I'm not done, and I will never be done until this whole thing's over. So I'm a fighter, and you'll see one of the banners or one of the symbols actually was placed on the banner that I made. And on the back of in the picture itself, it actually has a symbol of a crest. Okay. And it's on the back of one of the computer laptops that I placed in the picture. You read that close enough, you see that particular banner is who I help represent. And so that has a purpose, because I'm helping to represent the people who have been doing the same work as I am, the awoken. And we have been sharing each and every one of our information to others across the world, not just Canada. But as often as I try to bring up what I know that's here in our country, in Canada, I will share that with everyone. And those that are, even if I do see something that's happening, is, for example, in Australia, which I've seen what I was quite disturbed. I always say quite disturbed about it. I want to go to Australia first, but I also want to thank you, everybody, for joining me on the Facebook chat room as well as the YouTube chat room. So thank you guys for participating in it. The more you guys can subscribe to my YouTube, the more I can get using it more often. Because when you're not using it often enough, YouTube is trying to push you to purchase it, because now they're wanting you to sign over to purchase it. And if you did sign over to them with another type, like to upgrade it, so to speak, then you're going to end up forking out money for it. And then they get to see everything you do. You get to watch really carefully some of their wording by any company, really. Anybody who's anybody who's a corporation that likes you to sign something or to agree, then you have to watch carefully if you're going to agree to upgrade, right? So I watch really carefully, because I'm not going to trust everything I see. Not right now. Because right now, as we speak, every corporation is desperate. What's left of it is desperate. And I'll let you guys know more in the future. There's a lot of companies, a lot of major corporate businesses are going this way. And they're going to be gone. So, and I'll share with you some of the names later on that are be historically removed. And sometimes I wonder if either Facebook or the YouTube will also be, I'm not sure. I can't say yet. Because if it was, then we wouldn't be doing this show program right now. So, yeah, Catherine's saying it's getting hard to stay out of Facebook jail with this. Yeah, I know. But here's the advice. Anytime you're going to Facebook jail or any kind of jail, folks, okay, that means that you have to go into your settings and check your blocking room, okay, and type in the word fact checker, okay, or fact checkers. And if you have a bunch of them in there, get rid of them, block them all, because that's why you're getting booted. Because what the Zuck had done is hire from out of other countries, European countries, especially Germany. They hired them to come after you. And they will listen into the anagrams, or they watch your anagrams. And then they basically, they'll lie to you all they want, but they'll try to say, oh, you're wrong. This is not correct. According to Snopes, or Snopes, whatever have you, you're wrong. Well, number one, folks, Snopes is no longer belonging to Snopes. The original guy that owned Snopes sold the company to, guess who? FB. Okay? FB owns Snopes. So that's exactly how it works, right? Oh yeah, he's going to step down deep in the 15th of December. Yes. We're so close, folks. We are absolutely so close. Like we're squeezing. Okay. And that's okay. I don't mind. But again, we can't sit back and wait for it to happen. We still have to make an encouragement for others to know exactly what's going on. If we don't encourage others or letting them know that these are factual truths, these are intel truths. These are not. And if anybody ever tries to tell you Oh, the mainstream media will tell you if they can't if mainstream tells you that's the truth, they're wrong. What the mainstream media is doing right now, and I'll tell you this right now, folks. There's a guy who actually is a journalist who's been well known in the mainstream media industry in Canada. He's trying to fact check us now. He's trying to tell us that because we're saying to shut down the MSM, don't listen to them, that they're liars, right? So now he made his own little quipping commercial, and he said, don't listen to those people out there. They're crazy. They're nuts. I've been doing this for so many years, and I know what I'm talking about. Follow me. We would give you the factual truth. We wouldn't lie to you. If you get paid $1 million, you will lie. And I know. Okay. Yeah, you do get Wendy, yeah, I know you get used to being called that, the conspiracy theorist. Like again, you can call if anybody actually tells you that you're a conspiracy theorist, just say, look, I'm a conspiracy let's use that word. Facts. I'm conspiracy factist or factor. I'm a conspiracy facts. And then you can tell them the history about it. Okay, because originally the original word conspiracy came from the situation between John F. Kennedy when he was supposed to be assassinated, and after his assassination, supposed to be that the CIA were saying, "Oh, that's nothing but conspiracy theory." They're the ones that developed the idea when they went to court, when they went in council, and basically stated that who was supposed to be the original assassin and the original person that's supposed to have done it. And they say, oh, that's nothing but conspiracy theory. And then people have been saying, well, what if JFK Sr., what if John Kennedy is actually still alive? Oh, that's just nothing but conspiracy. So they created that to blindside you and to make you believe it consistently. So basically, you guys have to remember one thing. John F. Kennedy, what he did say that before he went on his little tour on the road, he said that he was going to shut down the CIA because he knew something's not right and he was going to expose them. The CIA, when they found this out, they knew they had to do something. So what did they do? They decided to go after someone, and that is himself and a fellow by the name of George Bush Sr., who actually was the head of the CIA, called for this to happen. So you know who's responsible. He was a very evil man. He's gone now, but he was a very evil man. He called things he made sure that Kennedy would not shut down the CIA to keep it running. So he also had a lot of backup. He had a lot of financial backers, a lot of corporate backers. So Wendy's saying, what's going on with the containment camps that are currently still being built in various places around Canada? Well, not just Canada, but also they've got containment camps those containment camps are being built specifically, that's paid for by Trudeau. Trudeau paid for those to be built. He's a billionaire, don't forget now, right? He had those built specifically so then he can still, like I said before, folks, there's a lot of people who are practicing dictatorship right now. Every prime minister and or president to be, because they're not going to be calling themselves those labels anymore. Okay, those camps they've been built. Most of them started being built around 2018, 17, 18. Because I've seen some of those camps already before they got started. We thought they were supposed to be for the pipeline or for the oil riggers. Find out later they're going to be using them for later. They even emptied a town in Britannia Beach in British Columbia here. They emptied a whole town. They took out all the houses, didn't tear them down, just moved all the houses over and brought in a camp in Britannia Beach. Britannia Beach. If you get a chance to go down the Sea to Sky Highway, folks, those are in BC. Drive down the Sea to Sky Highway. Look to your right. You'll see all these buildings all look the same. That's one of your camps. That's one of your internment camps. He made sure that those are going to be made everywhere. Those internment camps are going to be built everywhere. They were built because the Chinese military were helping him build them. Because they financially backed him to build these camps. It's not just him alone. China was involved. They're the ones that financially backed him to build these camps. Because China was making sure that not one person that's non-Chinese was ever going to exist. Communist China was going to take over our country in Canada and own it, as that we would never exist. We would be the slave. That's exactly what their job was to downsize us, to remove us. Why do you think? You'd hear the numbers, 550,000. That's what was who they. That's the amount of population what they wanted in this world. That's it. Nothing more. Just that number, 550,000. They wanted to downsize us to that population. Think about how many billions of people living on this earth. Okay. So one thing everybody has to be wise about, you guys may think I'm crazy. I'm not freaking crazy. Like I said before, I get my intel from who I'm talking about. You look at my flyer, my new flyer, you'll see where I get my intel from. Okay. Like I said before, from the beginning of my show, the reason why I call it shadow chasing or chasing shadows. Chasing shadows means that you're running around like a tail, like you're chasing after your tail. But shadow chasing is where people are in the background and they're in the shadows and you're looking for them. That's what my job was, is to find those shadows and bring them to be exposed. Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm exposing them as often as I can to share with you what's going on here. Yeah, Marlo, over 7 billion in the world, and they wanted to downsize us to only 550,000. That's it. This is their goal. This is the big thing, folks. You guys thinking that having to have these jabs in your arms is actually you think you're doing something right to help out your government. You're not helping them out. You're giving them, you're helping them out to basically depopulate yourself. Because you're going to be making, before you know it, they're going to try and get you to make an exit between the third and the fourth. You won't live long enough to even, I'm telling serious. You're not going to live long enough to understand what the hell is going on. You're going to say, well, I don't know why all of a sudden I have a heart attack. So I'm giving you guys a lot of great heads up. Watch what you are putting in your body. Be careful who you believe. I'm sorry, but these guys can start to open your eyes and start listening. The first shot and the second shot, that's no big deal. The third one is the most dangerous. When I was given the information regarding the third shot, that's the AIDS virus. The fourth one, for the ones for the kids, they're putting heart medication in there for the children. Heart medication. Why? Why are they putting heart medication in there? Doesn't make any sense. Right? Doesn't. So, like I said, I have my intel, and this is what I'm following. I take what I'm told. I'm shown. It's up to me to make those decisions. When this is all over with all China still own the resources. Okay, and isn't it illegal for a country to sell the people's resources to another country? It is. Actually, Harper started that a long time ago. He actually signed it over, when he was on his third round as prime minister. He signed it over. He signed over about 80% of it, apparently, but I understood. 80% of our land to China. Why do you think here I live in the Vancouver region, folks? Why do you think in some areas, a lot of areas of Vancouver, there's so many houses coming down so fast, so quickly? Houses everywhere, regular homes that were probably no more than started being built around the 1990s, and they're knocking them down and putting in high rises. And all these high rises are not built by professional, I guess you'd say, nice, there's some real great um, builders out there that know how to build a high rise. Guys that really put their heart and soul in it. Every building I've seen go up and every sign I've seen was always signed in Chinese. And it's a corporation that's from China. It's not even here in Canada. This corporation itself is actually from China. And they work for the Communist Party of China. So all these real estate agents are all Chinese. Most of them are Chinese. And if you talk badly about them, I love Chinese people because I've got friends that are Chinese. I got my niece is Chinese. Okay, I got a grand nephew who's Chinese, half Chinese and half human, half us. I love all races, but what I don't agree with is when these idiots that they want to control the world and if they're going to come after Canada. I don't know what we did to China. I don't think we ever did any harm to China, but they figure, okay, well, because we're the loose cannons, we're the ones that are weak, and they're coming after the weakest link. And if they weren't coming after Australia, they're coming after us. About Ramona. She did something new you guys don't know. Probably not. The other night, 2 nights ago, she actually wrote to the banks. I'm not sure how she wrote to the government and got the government to disperse $1,000 per person. That's a pensioner. And she wrote to them, and apparently there were people that were in the chat room that actually said, "Did you get your $1,000?" And some people said, "Yeah, they got their $1,000." No qualms, no, and it's not from. It's like basically, it's not something that's actually in the website itself saying you're going to get $1,000. It was suddenly in your bank account. It's not mailed to you. You're not notified. It's like it's. She says it's coming your way. Everybody's getting paid $1,000 each. Anybody's a pensioner. Never got mine yet, but there is another one my wife told me about. We're discussing it. My wife says that each of the pensioner gets about $500 each, but this is not the one. There's something totally different because I asked her, "Is this the one?" No, that's a different one. You're getting $1,000. No, you don't claim tax on or nothing. It's just basically that's a gift. So it's coming from Ramona. She's actually doing this. Yeah. Trudeau he is in the pockets of China. Has always been. They've been working together back and forth constantly. I mean, when I watched that video one day, he says that he admired the communist China's their way of having to dictate our country and dictate us. He says, "I want to be like them. I want to be a dictator too." And that's what he's doing. He's dictating. He's telling people what to do, and that's not cool. I'm sorry, but he's an idiot. But there's more tainted information on him than just being the wannabe dictator. He's got a very bad, evil reputation. He's got a very bad. I'm surprised this guy hasn't been taken away for the longest time. I'm not taking calls yet, guys. But I will say this for you. Anybody that's actually living in Canada, if you are having troubles as far as work is concerned, trying to keep your job, or if you have troubles by having to be forced for your child to have the jab, or anyone really, there is no law that's forcing you to do this. Okay? So the thing is that if you need help, go to the website called Action for Canada, which is Action number 4 Canada. Go there. Okay? Action for Canada. You will get help, and you go download the PDF. Download that PDF which you required that you need as far as that help is concerned. You present it to that business, or present it to your bosses, or you present it to whether it's the school boards or the teachers or anybody that's trying to force you to do something, even your children, even forced to have the jab. you present that specific charter as well as their Nuremberg 2.0. You actually introduce that to them, okay? Because the sooner you do this, the better, because basically what it is, it's a charge. And basically, once they receive this with their name being filled out, you signed it, down the road, if they don't follow the law under that code, then they themselves too will be arrested for crimes against humanity. They themselves too will be taken to Gitmo and have free one-way ticket there to that location. They will be dealing with a military tribunal, not a provincial, not a federal, military tribunal. So it's bigger than you and I. Anybody that follows the, one pastor would say he called them Nazis. Well, basically, that's exactly what you're beginning to. You are, folks. You're going through which is called the Nazism. You're being treated under Nazism. Why do you think they came up with? I already knew about the passport idea over 2 years ago. I knew they were going to bring that passport, and everybody kept saying, "No, passport ain't going to happen. No, you don't need it. You don't need those credentials. No, you're going to get this done, and it's over with, and everybody's happy." Guess what? I predicted it. The passports happened. And now in Germany, okay, they're going to, the police officers are going into restaurants while people are eating, asking them for their passport. Okay. And if you don't show them your passport, you go to jail. You're not fined. They take you to jail. You will be their version of taking you to jail, and you serve many years for not carrying a passport. It's a test. That's what they're trying to do, is make you believe that you need all these jabs and then have a passport. And if you don't follow their criteria, because it has nothing to do with anybody being sick, all it is, it's called the New World Order to control the population. And you folks are falling for it. I am not jabbed. I will never be jabbed. You can hate me. You can like me. I don't give a rat's crap. Because my job here is to do God's work, not working for somebody there. Him up there is telling me what I need to do. I'm fighting for you guys, with you guys, by your side, as much as I can. All I can say, that's all I can do. I'm trying my darndest. I give you as much information as far as I'm able to give you. So the thing is that, everyone needs to understand. Some people are having difficulty. Now, if you want to find out more truths, go download Telegram, and don't do it through Google. Go to the website itself. Go to Telegram, telegram.com. Go there first on their own page. If you go through Google, Google's going to follow you around everywhere, right? You don't want Google to follow you. Go to the website, Telegram. They have their own app. Download it from them. Once you download that app in your phone or in your computer, it is worth the time. And you get to learn a lot about what's going on. There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people that are on Telegram, and they feel more freer to speak up for what they want to say. If it wasn't for that website Telegram and for BitChute, places like those, you guys would be mummified with that mask on forever. So there are websites that have freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want, and Telegram will not shut you down, because Telegram is not a corporation. Telegram is for people like you and I, the awakened, and those that are about to be awakened. And I've seen new people come in the chat room. I've seen many people come in the chat room that are saying, some people are saying, "Oh, Derek, you're crazy. Oh, I'm not going to watch this again. No, this is crap." And then next thing you know, they try to make my reputation as if I'm a bad guy. I'm not. Or if that person says, "Well, I've had both jabs, I'm okay." Really? Tell the truth. Are you noticing that your immune systems begin to feel more weaker? Are you taking you longer getting out of bed? Do you feel kind of short-winded or getting sort of like dizziness lately? It's not your age. Or is your heart pounding a little bit more than it's supposed to? It's not your age. Because what it's supposed to do specifically, that stuff is supposed to do harm to your heart. It's supposed to shut your oxygen down in your heart. And they say, oh, well, that has nothing to do with the jab. Yes, it does. Because the side effects are. You try to explain that? That's why I got myself in trouble in the first place. When I explained about the purpose of fixing the sickness, Yahoo shut me down. And they said, no, you're not supposed to do this. It's dangerous. No, it's dangerous for them because they're not going to get any more money. They're investors. All of these corporate businesses, folks, are investors in the vaxes. Why do you think doctors, if you see a doctor out there promoting the vax, he's an investor or she's an investor? Seriously. Any health authority, any government official, if they keep on promoting it, pushing it, and why do you see commercials on TV on any show and it says brought to you by, sponsored by Pfizer, sponsored by da 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 da, sponsored by na 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 na. Gee, I wonder why. Zip. Think about it, folks. Who's getting paid? Very well. Like our Dr. Bonnie Henry here, she got in BC here, she got paid $1.4 million to keep on doing what she's supposed to do. She's one of the highest paid health authority. Why so much money? Why so much money is she getting paid $1.4 million? Because she's making sure that you don't survive. And she's ex-military. But she's not a good person in military. And we've seen her mask. And I'm saying mask as in she's not who she really is. Okay? So okay. Key's going, can't post on Facebook. I wonder why. Because he also, like I'm telling you, all you folks, go to all your if you're on Facebook or any places that relates to blocking, go to your blocking page on your settings. You hit the word blocking and type in the word fact checker. Then remove them all. Delete them. Because that's the reason why you get kicked out. So get rid of those and you'll be fine. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Blair says that's right. I told the doctor in the hospital that was trying to get me to get the jab. I told her you're going to get paid off. You're getting paid off by Bonnie Henry, and she said, jumping so fast, I lost it. She said, yeah, that makes sense. It makes a difference. You're going to get paid off anyways. You're, like I said, folks, this is what they do. So, like I said before, and then like I apologize for being late, but like I said, I had to get my wife's medicine, not from a pharmacist. No, actually from a traditional I had to get from a friend of mine who actually makes it. So to help her cancer, to make it better. Okay. Like I said before, I'm still the same person. I have never changed. Just basically changed the name of the show, just to give you guys a more of a. Everybody's talked about false PCR tests. Oh, by the way, Don't do the swabs. On the end of the swab, they've also started lacing them with the nano bite. If you're going to give any sort of sample, use your own swab. Off if they need to travel, take some Q-tips with you, whatever, or make your own cotton, and you offer that to them in front of them. But don't let them give you one of theirs, because theirs already preset to try and get started. To basically, they're inserting it in your mouth already. They found new ways of putting it in your body by having, if you refuse to put it here, they're making sure you put it here, and that's through the test. Okay. So, and medical masks, yes, are the same way. If you're going to wear a mask, make your own. Don't wear those blue ones. Those are badly done. I've got so many videos of people that have tested those masks, tested those swabs, and guess what came out of them? Little tiny worms. And they are nanoworms. And then once they go in and they start eating away in your mouth, and they start tearing all inside of here, and then you'll start seeing things start coming out inside of your mouth. Did you hear Romana was taken to the Royal Jubilee Hospital under for 6, which is mental status? She was let out the same day. No, that's a rumor. No, let's put it this way, folks. There is a man higher up than her who has been helping our country. You know who he is. And he's not even from our country. He's from the U.S. He is part of the Special Elite Forces. This man assigned her in our country. Okay. We'll see. Okay. So we'll also see what happens, because last night the activity was crazy. It was now, if she's saying this who she is, and if she thinks she's okay. Let's see, Carolyn. It isn't. I watched the video from her. It was live. Yeah. No. I have to see it for myself, because if you really want to see the truth, go to her page, see what she's doing, because she was live last night. Yeah. Let's explain something to you guys. If someone got hit and ended up in the hospital, don't forget, I got to tell you guys this. There are deep state people that have this special gun, and they can shoot it at you, and it can give you a heart attack automatically. And they probably centered her out, these bad guys, and they knew she's active, and they figured their last time. You guys have to remember one thing. Anybody who decides to help represent, to protect your country, they're at their last fight. Okay, the one you think you see, that's her. Okay, because they're called clones. Do you get it now? So if Romano is a clone, they took her in for one reason, to be checked out. Don't trust all that, folks. That was a test. That's a test. Absolute test. Because she could be a clone. They may have had a clone for her to be made to distract you to believe that's not who she is. They did the same thing for Trump. They did the same thing for a lot of people, a lot of actors. They made clones of them to make them. They even did, this is how they're able to do that. Clones can be made to look like famous actors. There's actors that I know right now are gone. They're passed away this past 2 years that have been taken out, and yet all of a sudden they're here or it's supposed to be here. Well, gee, maybe because they're clones, or they're just simple CGI to make you look at, make you believe that they're there. Anybody can make any actor look like a CG, make him look like real. And I've watched a film where there's a man who actually had really good voiceover, and they CGI'd him, and he looked like Morgan Freeman. And he had the voice like Morgan Freeman, but it wasn't Morgan Freeman. He's a voiceover, but they put the CGI on top of him. You swore it was him. That's exactly what they do on TV. About 60 to 70% of your actors or your entertainers, those who actually that did evil things, anybody that did evil stuff, are gone. They are gone. They're already in Gitmo. I know because I got the files. I got copies of them. Did they report that I Am Queen Ramona was released by RCMP same afternoon and cleared by the psychiatrist Jubilee Hospital that same afternoon? You remember one thing too, folks. See, don't forget, the RCMP work for the Queen. The RCMP also works for corporation. You get it now? Yeah. Well, there's a reason why this all happened. Whether it's from her page or not, that's a distraction. So we have a leader in this country that's watching over all of us. Why would she set this all up, and why would Mr. T allow this to happen? I'm not talking about our prime minister. I'm talking about the other man. Why would he allow all this thing happen to our country? And yet she's supposed to be helping us, to give us hope. And she's been really encouraging a lot of people to cease and desist the laws, using the laws. And she has been encouraging a lot of people. If it wasn't for her, you folks would still be sitting here trying to figure what the hell to do. Whether somebody says she may have psychiatric, you remember now too, she was in the military. She was in the military. You guys may not know this, but she was military. Okay. So anybody that's actually taken care of any of our countries, they've already served. They're not just civilians and say, okay, well, I had a company and so and it failed. That's all a setup. They put them there specifically to make them look as if they're important. Why would she be there? And sure, I've seen people do investigations on her. And one guy says, oh, she had a business in Vancouver and it failed. And so she bankrupted whatever, and then it failed and it's no good. And she's just nothing but a da-da-da-da. You know? Yeah. Because she stated, take out anyone who tries to jab any kids. Yeah, it's true. So basically what they're saying is that she was making an informing motion, and some people, the deep state, got nervous. So they're trying to rid her. Little do they realize that they probably took her clone. Because the real Ramana wouldn't do that. She's not foolish. This is all set up, folks. You're being blindsided. Don't trust everything you see. Let it waver for a couple of days. It'll come back again. You're going to oh, there she is. And she'll say, I'm fine. What's going on? The real Ramana was, what's going on? Or she'll play along. But she knows. You guys remember, I've seen Lady Gaga. She can barely walk, barely talk. I've seen her freeze like this. People said, oh, she must be exhausted. Yeah, 6 feet under. So I'm telling you, this is exactly what goes on. The thing is that what she's trying to do, okay, what she's trying to do for everyone right now And that is this: she's trying to give you guys encouragement to stand up for your rights. Our country in Canada is the only country still that has not even marched enough across the roads. Australia is walking in the millions. England is walking in the millions. Every European country, international country across the world is walking in the millions on the streets. But you're hardly seeing it on TV because you won't. They won't let you see that. Do you know who's not walking in the streets in the millions? Canada. You know why? Because you guys are scared. You're scared of authority. You are. You're scared of authority. Lady Gaga, what? Well, Lady Gaga actually was one of the queens of a satanic organization, and she was a blood drinker and a bad person with kids, and she sacrificed them, and she got caught. So she was arrested, taken to Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, under military tribunal 2 years ago. The one you see today is a CGI or a clone, if you don't know. She's not the real Gaga. And she's only there for a layover until the 5G is turned off, and then she will go down because that's not the real one. Yeah. There's approximately about 5 or 6 queens of a satanic organization that were involved with her, and parts of it is Hollywood. So there's more names I can give you, but Sharon, for example, if you want to know who are also taken care of, I can send you the files, the Gitmo files. So just have to email me. Blair says, I'm not scared. After my experience in the hospital, I'm stronger than ever. I stick up for myself, and I've always spoken up for myself, and I feel stronger now. Good for you, my girl. Like I said before, if you guys see there's a logo that I put on my new page, my new shadow chasing page. You'll see it on the back of the computer, and that's the logo that I work with. To I've been doing this for a few years now, or for a couple of years now. So I've been awakened since 2003. I know a lot what's going on. I was one of the experiencers of it because we had underground cities, folks, all across the world. And when I lived outside of Calgary, there's an underground city in Calgary that was built a long time ago before even Calgary became Calgary. And the people will go down, and anything, if there's anything you want, that's what they do go to the underground city. So basically, one of my good friends, good school chums that I knew back in the early 70s, his dad used to go to Calgary and go underground and go play poker. But this is like a major big casino. They have everything all get down there. There's girls, you name it. Anything you want, it's all down there. Because everything above the ground was illegal. So down below, they would do all this in secret. Anything you wanted, right? But he did say to his son one day, he said, if I go missing, I want you to know this. Because basically they told him that if he did tell anyone, his father tell anyone, that he would never come home. So he told his son the story. And so for some reason, I guess his son felt like sick about it. So he decided to tell me in case anything happened to him. So I kept that secret for years. And so when I sent to Gene Code the information, because Gene Code works with President Trump and is the messenger. So he's been sharing what's going on because he talks about the dumbs and all kinds of stuff. It's military. And I sent a message to him about what my experience is, what I know. And he answered back, yes, you're exactly right. You're true. It's true. There was an underground city. So they took that city out. They took all the people out are down there. They're evil. I'm not talking about the citizens of Calgary or of Alberta, but the bad guys that are there. They took them out. The military came in and took them. Same thing under Edmonton, under Vancouver, under Surrey, under the Coquihalla Highway. That's why we had the major storm and the mudslide. It's all under there. There's underground city under there too. It wasn't just why did it take 10 years to build a highway to go from the Coquihalla from Hope up to the top of the Coquihalla? Why did it take 10 years? And we're paying toll fees to get to the top because you're paying for their tunnel. No one else knew about it, but the military, or not military, there's a special group of people, not special group. The bad guys had a city under the Coquihalla Highway. It was all bored underground. So that's how they get across the land underground so quickly. Okay. So I thank you very much, Carolyn. I'll have a look at it. Yeah, if anybody wants any files to see the Gitmo files, you're more than welcome to have copies of them. So I was sent the copies, and I went, holy crap! And there's others more since then that are gone. So if you're thinking there's some that are not there, some will say that they were arrested, and sometimes it depends. And I'll tell you why I want you guys to know is because within this month, there will be still the 10 days of darkness. I mean, I did say 10 days here, but 10 days of darkness here in BC because they intermit in different places. But there's going to be another, they didn't mention it, there's going to be another outage for about 2-3 days. But that's when they're going to have the military tribunal on TV for 3 days. But when it happens, no other channel is going to work as far as entertainment is concerned. No news media. It's all militarized court, and you'll see exactly who is being prosecuted, who's charged, who's prosecuted, and what their prosecution will be, what the judgment will be. And there's either two judgments. One, either they executed or they're life in prison. Some have actually already been sentenced. So I already know who's been sentenced and who's not. Some are saying they're on hold, depending what their situation is. So again, anybody that's on tribunals, they're all part of a child pedophile organization. So it's bigger than you think, folks. And this is where Trump's special elite forces have been traveling the last few years since he was president. They've been going all over the world rescuing children from underground, right? And a lot of these kids have never seen daylight. Some of these kids were just born from the unknown mothers and given the babies to them. And again, it's not good. It's not pretty either. And I can really give you details, but I don't want to do it here. But if you want to know what really went on, I've got those videos as well. And it's ugly. It's horrendous. It's horrible. But I've learned to become an observer and not to get caught up in it. But if you don't want to see the nightmares, you don't want to see the film. But if you do see the film, now you know why we're trying to speak up for our rights. Because what you folks are dealing with now, you don't know everything. You think you're here specifically to think that, okay, well, Derek's going to tell us something here about stopping this and stopping the jab, and stopping this, stopping that. Yeah. But the thing is, the jab is a distraction to keep you out of the way, so then you don't interfere for what the deep state's trying to do. And that the deep state's the bad guys. And that's exactly what Trump's people have been doing for these since 2016, taking them out, cleaning the swamp. And he's not alone doing this. He's got some very special people helping him who encouraged him to join in and do this. Because Trump himself is not a Donald Trump. He is the son of General George MacArthur. These people have been set in place since birth to finally come around and to protect our planet and to protect our world and to protect in God's name. Because this is all predicted in the Bible. Not MacArthur, sorry. George Patton. General Patton. So Patton actually is well known. I was thinking of MacArthur because there's not somebody else I'm reading about MacArthur in this other page here. Um, Patton is a very well-respected man, and especially in the military. And so he was given an option to give up his child when his child was born, and by the deep state, and they were going to use that child as a sacrifice. So he got smart, and knowingly there was a child somewhere that was sickly in the hospital, knowing the child was going to pass away. So they switched babies, and Trump was adopted by the Trump family until later on. But they did explain to him that he's the son of that particular man, and that in due time in the future that he will be needed. So yeah, you're right, Catherine. There's a lot of people even right now, if I'm telling them, they're going like, what? No way, prove it. No way, prove it. I've already proven it. I've seen it. I'm not the only one that just seen it. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of us have seen it. Millions of us actually have seen it. So you either accept it or you don't. But if you haven't seen it because you haven't looked, no one's those people that don't want to pay attention to it. They say, oh no, I don't want to know, I don't want to know. And he's what I mean? I don't want to know, I don't want to know. Like whitewash, rose-colored glasses. That's what you guys are doing. That's what people are doing out there. They're covering up. They'll always say, I don't want to see it, I don't want to see it. They're going to find out the truth. And then you're going to say, oh, I should have listened to you in the first place. We have been spoiled. Our country has been spoiled so much. We've been babied. But they did it purposely. They want us to be babied. So then they'll say, well, okay, if you do this in your arm, and I'll give you $1,000. Even the homeless person, our country, in our own city of Vancouver, even the mayor, asshole, and I will say that word, the mayor of Vancouver offered $5 to the homeless people each to get it in their arm. They didn't care. You know why? Because they think it's going to get them high. They didn't care. They took the $5. You know how many homeless people were in the street in Vancouver before the city happened? There's well over 2,000. A couple years before that, there was only about 250. Why? Because China, the communist China, bought all downtown buildings, high rises that were empty. Most of them were hotels that are shut down. They took them over, kicked everybody out. So people had no place to go. They were homeless or houseless. Next thing you know, some actually went to the streets, didn't know what to do. So most of them actually became drug users or alcoholics or just living in the streets. Not everybody was a drug user. And to try to find a way to survive. Now there's well over 3,000, 4,000 in Vancouver downtown. Downtown Vancouver. And yet a mayor would turn around and say, oh, well, we need to get them all out of here so we can bring in the Olympics. So we'll take them out to Abbotsford and drop them off there, but they can't come back until the Olympics are over. I want to make the city look good, like they did China. When China had their Olympics, they kicked all the people that they needed out of there. They called this, they don't like. They kick them out of and they put them in some other part of the province until they had the Olympics are over or whatever, or the event's over, and then they come back, merging back into the city again. That's what they do, right? Yeah. Now, Catherine, extraterrestrials. Oh, my friends. Oh, I work with those guys all the time. Elena Danon on YouTube. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. She is, okay. Yep. When an idiot in the mirror and got so mad I heard that. Yeah, Blair, I'm telling you, we got some really stupid people everywhere. As far as extraterrestrial friends, they've been helping us. They're in fact, the ones that I worked with many years ago, they're the ones that gave me the warning. They gave me the heads up. They said, Derek, be aware of this. You need to be aware of this. What's going to happen? I knew about this since 2003. Like I said, I've been woke for a long time ago, right? So, but they also give you an option to understand one thing. There are some really great things that are coming forward that are given to us from our extraterrestrial friends that are still watching us. They cannot interfere because it's God's guideline. They can help us in the means of like basically our lifestyle. Basically, us as humans, we are supposed to be healthy. We're supposed to be, living a different life, as in a better life financially. But the deep state decided to make us struggle, that we can barely make it. So we are working 10 times as hard to survive than our normality of life born as a person from God. So what they decide, so this is reason why the prediction had taken place in the Bible stating in 2020, the war is on between God and Satan, and God has already won. And 2021 is when they're going to clean up all of the swamp. And by the end of 2021, which goes into Christmas, it's not, by the way, the 25 of Christmas is not Christ's birth, because he was born before that, but people still call it the Christ Mass. They call it the gathering, which is fine. And we're going to be going from the our Gregorian calendar is going to change. Okay. We're going into the Julian calendar, which is the true calendar. So we're going back, we're going to be going backwards where it's supposed to be. And that's going to be flipping back to at the same time. It's all going to happen all at once this year. So you're going to feel like you're going to be flipping out and acting weird. But like I said before, including while we have all these floods are purposeful because they had to drown out the underground tunnels. Do you remember me telling you guys regarding the Picton file? Okay. Robert Picton, who actually was supposed to be a rapist and murderer, and he had called the Piggy Ranch, right? Well, the Piggy Ranch also had an underground tunnel, as well a giant arena, which they were sacrificing children and doing, you name it, selling them, and auction, and Hillary Clinton and her husband were involved. The people from Lionsgate Productions were involved. They were video recording all the women and children being taken away out on the boats, which is actually the containers, right? Because Hillary owns one of the companies. So those kids as women were taken out. That's why a lot of families, and especially indigenous families, were looking for their sisters and their aunties or their cousins, or because if they're not at the Piggy Ranch, they're actually already taken away out of the country. You would never see them again. Some are turned for prostitution. Others were used for other means, sacrificial needs. So again, there's so many things out there that this is what they were doing. And I guess Hillary got cocky about it, so to speak, and thought she was going to get away with murder for the rest of her life. And guess what? She got caught. In 2016, she had a heart attack. And her heart attack was when she found out that Trump won the election, she had her heart attack. So she's replaced by a clone. So since then, she's had 15, 16, maybe more clones taking her place. And not every one of them are all the same. They all act different, look different. That's just the way it was. And also our our Prime Minister Trudeau was also involved. He was there. He was part of the sacrifices, and he raped a lot of girls, especially children and boys. Oh man, he's so gay like his dad. Um, so what they decided to do after the investigation, they decided to bulldoze the farm. Why? Why do you? Why all of a sudden they're in a hurry to bulldoze a farm? To cover up the evidence, because they know the underground tunnel is there. So guess what they did? They had to open up the waters to flood the area, to close off the tunnels, because there was 4 tunnels under the Picton area. 4. And some led out to the Coquihalla, went out to the shipping area, and the other tunnels went out to right from Vancouver up, and anywhere else they want to come from, all underground. They can get to one location to the other with a matter of minutes, compared to highways and like this. So, yes, Trudeau's wife actually is the granddaughter of Hitler. If you don't know that, I'm sure you guys do. I hope you guys do. And so she's also part of it. Let's see it put this way, any type of organization that Trudeau has been involved in, they're all part of a child pedophile organization. So that's all being exposed. It's all going to happen all at the same time. The real Trudeau, the real Justin Trudeau, okay, he's gone. He's bye-bye. He's in Gitmo. The one we have right now in government is actually a clone. He's a replacement. Temporarily, he's just put there specifically by Deep State to scare tactic, but it's not going to last long. It's like I said before, folks, it's not what you think. Yes, she is. Now, I'm going to explain something to you folks, and I've been trying to figure this out myself. How come there's so many people that have what's called the black eye club? I'm sure you see a lot of actors and actresses get black eyes. Well, the reason why they got black eyes has nothing to do with having an argument. Is because there was an alien, a specific type of alien that's reptilian. And they have a tongue that comes out of their mouth. And so when the tongue comes out, they get themselves all worked up, and the tongue hits the eye of that person that they want to replace. So the innocent person who does not want to be the victim, they're trying to stop this from happening. But because these reptilians were over 7, 8, 9 feet tall, they just grab you, hold you, you can't move. Out comes the tongue, hits them in the eye. Out comes a creature that goes into the eye. That creature goes into the brain, takes over. Now, you are no longer you. They control everything that you have in your head. You're no longer who you are, but they'll use your memory and carry it on until you are of service. So basically, you are a host to them. The body is a host. Just like being a zombie, the body is a host. That's why they call it zombieism. So this little creature controls it, and he's part of the reptilians. Okay, so that's why all of these people that have been taken away to Gitmo were executed, because they're not them anymore. The real spirit of those people had died a long time ago. And if anybody's ever acted weird or strange during the lockdowns, or knew they're going to be taken away, they start acting weird and strange, is because they know that they were going to be taken away, and they couldn't do anything about it. So it's not the fault of the person, and yet there are so many people out there that have tried to expose them, and no one would listen to them. Yeah, it's like a parasite, but this parasite it's like a little person. It's like having a baby, okay, and it's shaped like a seahorse. Boom, right in the face. I can't remember the name of it all of a sudden, and basically it goes right into the eye, and that's why it's black, like it looks like a black eye. So none of these people that you see are who they are. Because once they take over your brain, that's it. Your brain is gone. Your memory of who you are, like your soul is gone. You're no longer the soul is no longer in that body. The soul had lifted and just it went back to God. But yet now you have a soulless body. Meantime, that person's controlling you. If you see people running around wearing, like anybody who's famous is wearing a boot, again, they're members of the Black Eye Club. Because you see some of the photos of a lot of these guys have had that are members of Black Eye Club. They are not who they are. So a lot of these people were sacrificed for a satanic organization, but also reptilians. That's why this whole past 7 years will be 6 years. The whole past 6 years, the Trump's special elite forces has been taking out the reptilians. Even Zuck was taken out. People from all over, they're all the people that were part of the Black Eye Club, taken out. They had to. So now you know. That's what I'm trying to explain it. I'm trying to find a way to say this carefully. And not every actor or singer was a bad guy. Tom Hanks is different. Hanks is gone. He's been taken out. The real Tom Hanks was a hitman. He was actually an assassin for the Rothschilds because he himself is a Rothschild. So anytime that anybody went against what the Rothschilds asked them to do, or Rockefeller asked them to do, if they refused, any actor or famous person refused to do, Hanks would take him out. And yet he became the actor. So Hanks was a bad guy. Yes. So we have been controlled by the reptilians for thousands of years. But they don't take advantage of us, all of us completely, where we have no control, because they cannot interfere by means of all of God's children. So there was some sort of, so basically the only way they can get away with it, but having to influence you, make you believe that if you sell your soul to them and they will make you famous, then they take you out when it's time, because you are value. They still need your blood. Why do you think they're teaching adrenochrome? To drink blood to keep your youth. That's why all these people were wanting to keep their youth. And when they started no longer to do it, they wanted to, be a citizen. They wanted to be innocent and stop what they were doing. And then they actually they're taken out. Yes. Carolyn says there was a radio show in the 1950s called "The Aliens Are Coming," and it scared so many people who were scared to death. They really thought it was happening. Yes, you're absolutely right. I remember that one black and white show, I think something to do with Twilight Zone, where this supposedly alien came off a ship and offering them to come to another planet and they'll live forever. And supposedly, but then they realize after the girl was trying to warn the guy, no, you're food. Well, exactly. That's what this is. That's what the reptilians were. Why do you think Bill Gates was trying to cover up the sky? Why do you think Bill Gates wanted to close off the sky completely, make it dark? Right? He said, "Oh, the sun's not good for you. You should cover the sky. I want to cover the sky." And yet he never could. He was never able to cover the sky. Why? Because the elite forces stepped in real quick. So, because he thought he was doing the right thing by helping reptilians doing their favor. Because reptilians cannot come to the surface because they are afraid of the sun. The sun blinds them. They cannot handle the sunshine. They have to be in the dark. And so they can see in the dark. They can see very clearly in the dark, but they can't see very well in the light. It scares the crap out of them. They have a hard time seeing with the light. So if Bill Gates can actually take out the sky and make it really look dark all the time, that means that reptilians come to the surface and take us out. That's what the goal was. But our smart people said, ain't going to happen. And so they had to step in and stop this from happening. It's like a movie, folks, but it's real. It's damn real. It's, and anytime you ever see a movie or a storybook that relates to something similar to this, It's exactly what it is. It's really happening. You can have a life of your own, want to move on and keep on making things and doing things and representing a company or any type of organization. And you say, well, I'm going to keep on moving on. I'm not going to worry about this outside source. But you know what? It's still going to happen. It's still going to keep on going. It's until we stop and say, no, enough is enough. Ain't going to do it. See, the thing is, the reptilians are afraid of us. They're not. People think they're afraid of them. They intimidated us. But as long as because our population is far greater, right? Yes, we're snack food and slaves, according to Dr. Dan Winter. Yeah, or according to Dan Winter. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and they can't also handle our inner light because we're too powerful. They don't like it. There are some aliens. The Greys are assisting the reptilians. The Greys are helping them. The ones that were helping were the robotic Greys. Those ones that were helping them out, which are their clones. But the real true Greys weren't doing that. There have been, and always has been, ancient wars for the longest time, thousands of years amongst extraterrestrials amongst each other. Originally, what I understood that we're actually not from this planet anyways. We're originally from Mars. That's where we had lived at one time. And then there was a great war between alien nations. And so they moved us over here. We came over here to this planet that was empty, so to speak, and popularized it. So this is how it started. Now, what you guys may not know, you'll see some of these giant mountains that look like flat top curves. Well, those are actually trees. And don't forget, folks, our planet was much bigger. Bigger in one way because there was actually giants living on this planet. So the trees are basically where the giants were 25 feet tall. So the trees are taller than the giants. And so after later on in time, the giants did not survive being 25 feet. They got smaller and smaller and smaller because of the altitude, or basically talking about how you say it's the combination of oxygen and all that. It start changing their features, their physical features that they were downsizing. Plus, also the giants were messing around with people like us. How we were humans, and some of them were attracted to and had children and mixed them up. So they got smaller and smaller. We're not going to get any smaller than this, but we're going to get bigger. Actually, we'll start to grow back bigger because our bodies will regenerate, the new proper generation, and we'll regrow again, and we'll get back to being healed properly, be able to heal people properly. We'll be able to learn things. We're not going to have any more sicknesses anymore in this world. That's where the med beds come in. So there's a lot of things going to happen. Any more questions here? Like I said before, if you guys have difficulties, go through the website Action for Canada, number 4, actionforcanada.com. Go in there and download what you need if you want to fight for your rights. Okay. I don't really always depend. I'm not depending on a leader or a new leader supposed to be representing our country. I don't depend on them. I depend on my work. I depend on what I can do for others. Okay. She just encouraged us. That's all she did. She just gave us encouragement, and other people decided to take it on their own decision, and they decided to do the research. And so those people have been doing the research. My hand's up to you. Thank you very much. Most of us are actually hybrid, anyways. And I got a kick out of people said to me. People actually asked me, have you ever seen aliens before? I said, yeah, every day. Where are they? I'm looking at you. Because we're alien to this planet. Let's see, one more thing. they're trying to put scares in people and trying to say they're going to put them in internment camps and all that. I feel bad for the guys up in Australia. I want to mention about the Aborigines. There's one woman who was yelling and screaming because the military is supposed to be military coming in to take the people away if they don't get the jab, and they're grabbing the children. Actually, they're saying that the so-called person saying that the military are grabbing the children and taking them first and supposed to be jabbing them. And they said if they don't get the jab, that they don't get their children back. So this is getting to be too much. Now, really, I don't understand one part. They're saying military in this Australia, possibly New Zealand as well. But they're saying this, which doesn't make any sense to me, because if the military is supposed to be helping us, because there's one military officer that stood there and helped support the protesters in Australia, and he was a military. And next thing you know, all these Aborigines are supposed to be being attacked, and a lot of them are actually hiding in the trees or hiding in the forest and that sort of thing, that they can't get food, and not because they're being hunted down and that sort of thing. Well, we went through something similar like that in I'm not sure if it was Onion Lake or no, I can't remember where the area was. Apparently, one of the ladies started something up regarding the same story or similar story, as in military was going to grab the people, and the women are running to the trees and the forest. They're hiding. And the military are chasing them. It's here in Canada, here Saskatchewan. And that was the time when Pat King and his group were all in Edmonton, and they were doing their encampment regarding the Queen's, which had nothing to do with protesting. But anyways, one of the women actually said they got wind of a bunch of people in that specific reservation being attacked and chased by the military. Didn't make any sense to me. Then when they said they finally got there, they decided to come down and see them, to interject and see what was going to happen. And the chief said nothing happened here. They said, well, I don't know why you guys are here. You're getting phone calls. Well, here's the thing, folks, and I really think this is what it is. Whether you think you made it up or maybe you didn't make it up, it actually happened in Australia. Because if one country got it, another country didn't get it. Now, is this considered a distraction? Or are they saying they're going to do it? Or have they really done it? Because we don't know yet. Have this military really showed up, and did they come and take it or chase people down? Or just is a rumor saying they're coming for them? Because if it's a rumor, then they're trying to get you guys to come forward and say, okay, here's my arm, right? Do you remember? Think about it. The military would never go out of their way to trying to harm you. Because basically your country in Australia or any country is under martial law. Martial law means to protect you, not to harm you. Doesn't make any sense. Same thing. I hear the same story. They say, oh, the military is going to come to your house, and they're going to once you open your door and invite them in, they can grab you and take you down and have you jabbed. No, they can't. Nobody can. But again, that's a scare tactic. Who's doing the scare tactic? Think about it, folks. Absolutely think about it, right? So, yeah. Austrian police now, like I said before earlier, they were asking for passports while you're eating. And if you refuse, they arrest you right there and you're taken to jail. You don't get out. You're taken to jail. They're going too far. So, but you have to tell the police that if they decide to arrest you and take you to jail, you have to inform them. I don't care who you are, folks. You inform them that under any charter or under the Nuremberg Code 2.0, if they threaten to arrest you and take you to jail, you need to inform them out loud and record it. Once they hear that and they accept that and say, well, whatever, I'm just doing my job, that means that officer or officers are going to be taken as well and arrested themselves, and they're making their one free trip, one direction, okay? Because they're not going to tolerate this. um, yeah. So thought I'd share that with you tonight. Um, if anybody wants to phone right now, you're more than welcome to 360-566-2875. It's on the line 360-566-2875. You're more than welcome to call in on I got it's a Skype line. Call number. And if you are calling from another country, like say Wendy or whomever have you from Australia, you can always look for my name, Derek White Sky Cloud, on Skype, and you can get a hold of me there too. Call me in, and we'll have a chat. If you have anything you want to share from other countries and see what's going on in your area, love to hear from you. There is a person that did a lot of medical research, and she was phenomenal doing her research, and I wanted to share this with you guys. I've done this before, but I did it like months and months, 6 months ago or so ago, or longer than that. But you guys need to remember one thing too. We've had so many sicknesses of sorts that have been around for all over forever, I guess you'd say, from the beginning. One of the main sicknesses that people have always had was the plague, and the plague actually started not from a rat, and plague actually was intentional, because there were people back then that knew how to work with chemistry, even though they call it witchcraft, but it was actually known personally that actually they came up with the idea, examining the idea that they can actually create a sickness to control the public and control the people. And so that's why you always had your Vatican that wanted to control the public. If the Vatican could not control you under their Bible that they fixed that was under Latin, written in Latin, and then they tried to control you by using a sickness that they would create themselves. They'd hire someone they'd hire as a scientist. They didn't call them scientists back then. Someone who can actually mix certain chemicals to get you sick, and one that actually can spread it. And that's exactly what they had done. So they start out by doing the plague. So they started the plague back in 1665, and in the Yersinia pestis, in England, and they killed over 100,000 people. They call it bacterium transmitted by bite human flea or a louse. Now, the fleas never really got the bite, not from the fleas at first. It was actually, they were trying to find something that most commonly would see around on a person. Why do you think that doctors believed in bloodletting by using leeches? Well, bloodletting didn't happen by leeches. Bloodletting actually was not just taking their blood, that was actually mixing in what was in their body. So the chemicals they used then, what they created, they put it already in the leech, and so it was starting to spread then, because most of the time it was always a royal leader that got sick first, and then the rest of the whole town or the village would actually start to die out, or a leader, whichever, the king or queen, or as mostly the men, or someone who actually was close to a royal figure. Could be a soldier at source, and then that soldier would get sick. He would not complain, not say a word. Next thing you know, whoever he was with in the village got that person sick, and that's how they created the plague, right? So that's how it began. And so then later on, again, was considered as a bacterium. No one really knew how to stop the bacteria, which basically how it stopped was because certain people that lived in the villages knew how to make certain medicines, and they created certain medicines to help clean up what was left of it. And what it really was, number one, was bathing, because people in the UK back then, those years, did not believe in bathing. They believed in, if they figured if you were a person that bathed a lot, that you were the one that's given bacteria, or you're the one that's going to get people sick. So they never bathed for at least a month or two, maybe 3, even more. But if you did smell too strong, they discovered using certain kinds of fruits that they were found create citruses of sorts, and they would put them under their clothing to take the smell away. Well, a lot of the times when the Europeans came to our country, whether the United States or Canada, and that's why a lot of the people from Europe, when they showed up, the Indians could not, First Nations, when they met the Indians for the first time, the Indians or the First Nations could not stand the smell of a white man or anybody from other countries because they said they couldn't handle it, couldn't stand smelling them. So that's why they, not because they didn't like looking at you, it's because they couldn't stand smelling you downwind. So, because the First Nations back then were very, very clean people. They were bathing every day. They were very clean about it. They understood cleanliness. So, yeah, you may not realize that. In 1918, the Spanish flu, and I got to tell you guys a story here regarding the Spanish flu. Even though it began back in 1918, it was actually considered as a bacterium that actually was developed to downsize population back then. And actually, they said they're blaming a soldier who they said who was unclean, and he was supposed to be a chef or a cook, and he was supposed to be had his hands on the potatoes, and he was really sick. And next thing you know, all the guys, his mates that ate the food, got sick, and then they got sick, and it spread more and more and more to the point of people were dying by the thousands and into the millions. Well, what happened was it didn't go all that far. It didn't go all that way that far where the 1918 was, or the Spanish flu was killing everybody through the Spanish flu. Before it began going any further, up to no more than 100,000 or so, they decided to wear masks, or they were encouraged to wear masks and make it by law or law that you had to wear a mask no matter who you are. Again, here we go, masks, right? So there, they made a law, and there's actually, you'll see old photographs of people holding on to signs that says, "It's the law or go to jail, wear a mask." And I've seen photographs of little children with their mask under the nose, because this, again, this is under just a common cotton material, and they wore this every day, all day, every day, all day. Most people were dying because they were breathing this in their own face, they're breathing in their own oxygen, okay, which turns into carbon dioxide, which turns into like a visible bacterium poison. So we're making ourselves sick. Okay. So it carried on to the point that they found out later that through the tests of the labs that 80% of the deaths, or sorry, 90% of the deaths of the Spanish flu was from wearing the masks, because there was so much bacteria that they gave themselves heart and lung conditions. So, and yet you're going to see people out there today, these so-called doctors or whoever they want to call themselves, the ones that want to support the jab, they're going to say, "Oh no, the mask wouldn't do that. The mask wouldn't do that." These doctors know. They'll always tell you that they would never really wear a fabric mask, or sorry, a paper mask on their face no more than a half an hour. They said it becomes too hot and it's hard for them to breathe. Plus, they said it gets so sweaty that the round side of their face starts to look blistery. Well, because of the material that they're using can also cause skin conditions. Skin conditions, right? So we don't know what's in the material that the mask is made of. So, and yet I have been seeing so many different varieties of videos of some of these masks that were designed specifically. Maybe at the beginning they were hardy, no problem, to protect us, only not from dust. Not, they were just used specifically as lab use, right? Just for lab. So, anyways, for being of the lab use. But what happened was that they went further with it, and ever since this whole big C began, they wanted to redo the whole thing again. This is where Fauci and Gates wanted to do this, to repeat this whole thing again, see how far they can get away with it. And it's not just them that created the inception of the saying from the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and the Bilderbergs, and all them that were the ones that are telling them. Okay, they're saying it's time. Okay, we need to recreate another 1918. And that's what they did. They recreated another in 1918. So we're in the middle of all this again. Another 1918. That's why they're telling people no matter how many times you get jabbed, right? And they promised you once you get jabbed, you don't have to wear a mask. Okay, first jab, second jab, third jab. Oh, but you still have to wear a mask. Why? Oh, because we said so. Okay, fourth time, fifth time, sixth time. You're 6 feet under. Well, I guess the mask didn't work, did it? I think we'll put a mask on his coffin. So I've seen people put masks on their dogs, masks on their cats, masks on their animals. This is getting to be crazy. They're going ridiculous. Now they're wanting to make sure that you can't walk into any business, especially some parts of other countries, that you have to, there's this machine, looks like an entry machine that you have to have a card, and you can touch the machine and it allow you access to come into the building if you don't have that passport to come into in that store, and it won't let you in. You can't come in. They won't let you in. So basically, again, it's control telling you what to do. But they're also telling you with that card what you're allowed to buy and what you're not allowed to buy. Because what they want to control and tell you what you can eat, what you can't eat. And that's exactly what it is. This is all a practice set stage. They've been putting those barriers and boundaries of tape around all those shelving units for months, especially Walmart and Costco. Well, Walmart and Costco, who do they belong to? Bill Gates. He runs them. He controls them. Anytime anybody walks into any of those two businesses, corporates, they own him. So they're going to tell you. They'll tell you, well, you can only have the Dollarama. Okay. Now they're doing the same thing. Gee, I wonder who owns Dollarama. Gates. These are all shareholders. The Premier of our state has now called this a pandemic of the unVD. Yeah. VD, yeah. Who's got VD? Oh, and I'm going to find the people who got VD. Yeah, we'll blame the guy who's got VD. You got VD? Oh, it gets to be crazy. But anyways, I want to go further with this, and I'll let you guys know this. Okay. So the thing is, like everything you've been noticing as far as barricades are concerned and controlling the doors, and they're saying, oh, well, now if you don't get the passports, you cannot walk, you can't go shopping, you can't go buying clothes, you can't get gas. In fact, today, or not today, a couple of days ago, we were informed here for British Columbia, by next month of January, I think they're saying, I think it's January, that you cannot get your license, you cannot get your license or your insurance for your car unless you are double vaxxed. Really? They're telling us now that we can't get insurance or license if we're not double vaxxed. Here's my word on that. Our government cannot do that to us. They cannot stop us from getting a license, nor can they stop us to get a gasoline, nor can they stop us to get insurance on our vehicle to get our car back on the road. If they do, then people are going to drive around without an uninsured vehicle, and they're going to drive around with a car. They don't care. Okay? It's going to happen anyways. It makes no damn difference. Because in the States, people I know of, I can tell you right now, are driving without a license, without a driver license, and they're driving their cars all around the cities, around the state lines, and nobody's doing anything about it. So, and if they're going to get gas, they'll find some small little station that doesn't give a crap about the, passports, and they're going to get gas. It'll work. No matter which way you're going to do it, you're going to still get gas. So, or get your like they're going to try to scare you. Oh, we want to control you. You can't have this unless they give you permission. You can't have this. No. Oh, good. No. Really? I'm your slave now. I am your slave because you let them be your slave. You let them to be, you are their slave now because you're letting them. And you think, well, this is scary. No, it's not. It's nothing but intimidation. No one owns your life. No one owns you. Now, I did not finish this part too. I used to live in a town called Didsbury, which is in Alberta. I used to live not in the town, but I was in a farmer. I was a farm kid in the dairy industry back in the late 69, 70. And like my parents moved back to the farm. Like I was born in Manitoba, but they went from Manitoba to Alberta and moved back to the farm. And as a kid growing up, I never knew anything about our history of the town called Didsbury, Didsbury. And then there's one of the ladies that's living in that town that I know, a good friend of mine, Gwen. Big shout out to you, Gwen. Um, big hands up and say hi. Gwen is a healer, and she does Reiki and that sort of thing. She's wonderful. She works with crystals and stuff. She's wonderful, wonderful young person, and her family. Anyways, she's got another friend I think that she knows of that's wrote to me and asking about the Blackfoot Nation, or asking about if were there indigenous people living there. She wants to find out what their medicines were, or what they did there, the history of Didsbury. I remember years ago there was a lady that I know that she was actually a figure skater, and she became well known in the Olympics. That she was a well known figure skater from our town of Didsbury, and her name was Karen Garissino. Oh, sorry, Claire Bussier. And she was a singer and artist, and she also used to call her Grimes, Grimes. Anyway, she was the aunt of a lady by the name of Karen Garissino, Garissino, Karen Garissino. And this Karen Garissino, who is the niece to Claire, is married to Elon Musk. Talk about a small town. Oh my God. Talk about a small world, or a small town, whichever you want to call it. Elon Musk married a small town girl. And her name is Karen Garissino, and he's married to her. And she was an ice dancer. Go figure. No, I could be wrong. Hang on. No, I reversed this. Karen Garissino is from Didsbury. Okay, she's from Didsbury. I wrote this wrong. Is married? Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's true. Okay, here we go. I'm mixing this up again. Yeah, Karen Garissino was an ice dancer. She actually was a figure skater. They call her ice dancer. I don't know why. Figure skater. She married Elon Musk, who actually is the aunt to Claire Bussier, who is a singer and artist, and she has a nickname called Grimes, Grimes. You can always look it up on the YouTube maybe, or online and find out yourself. But I'm from that same town, and go figure, folks. Elon Musk married one of the girls from that town. Wow. Small world. Holy crow. When I saw that historical research, and I just saw that maybe a couple of days ago, I was totally blown away. But no one knows this. No one knows. All they know is, okay, well, Elon Musk is married, he's got kids. 5 kids, I think. 5 children, and he's a very happy father. Yeah, so now you know on that one. Look it up if you have to. A little bit more. Again, you guys, if you guys want to call in, ask questions regarding what I'm talking about tonight, or if you want to get any information from me, say, for example, the Gitmo files, let me know. Join me on Telegram. Find me on Telegram at White Sky Cloud, or you can just put yourself in there and I'll find you. And just say, okay, I'm looking for Dark White Sky Cloud. Or my other page is called True North strong and free. And you'll find me in there somewhere, and you'll say you want to join or befriend, and I'll get you hooked up. You'll get to see a lot of the stuff that I know of, and I'll pass you on to other people's pages, and you get to see and get to know them too. So it's a lot of fun to do. But I guess like I said before, you have the freedom to see and say what you want. You're not locked out or saying, okay, you can't say this, can't do that. That doesn't make any sense. Someone asked me the question, Derek, why do you wear the alien? Okay, this is my bolo tie. I made this myself. This is alien thing. I got my guy back there. This is Alien. He's actually raised in California, surfer dude. Um, he's actually my puppet. This guy here I'm a ventriloquist, so he's my puppet. So this guy here he has a great personality, and you can bend his fingers, do all kinds of stuff. And the cool part about him is I can sit here and I can talk, and he'll talk to you this way. So I don't even have to touch. I don't have to put my hand behind his back. There's a cord that goes behind here, and he does all the talking this way. So just like that. So I make puppets. This is one of my guys. Some of my guys I make. Okay, Blair, no problem. I can do that for you. Sent you request of the files. When you see them, you're going to go like, oh, no way. Yeah, it's going to throw you right off. I was totally blown away by a few people I thought were my heroes. But again, you got to look at these guys in a different way. Those heroes were heroes, and then they got their lives taken away from them by the reptilians. Okay? So don't hate them for what they did. You hate them for how they became. Or the people for the, how I should say, forgive the people what happened to them, but it's how they became. It's hard to explain it. Okay, the new variant. It's just a scare tactic. I found a friend of mine sent me a photograph. Well, actually, I went online. I wrote that word down on a piece on the website, not on Google. I did on DuckDuckGo. And I wrote the name down on the variant, and up come a movie back in 1963. And I'm thinking, you're kidding me. Omicron variant. Actually, the word was called Omicron variant. And they're telling the story about this so-called virus that goes into people's body and takes over people's bodies. Well, why did the people themselves change the name from a supposed to be vaccine to a variant? Because what they're doing is they're also changing the vaccine names, the titles. So anything you've heard before, all those titles of vaccines, they're changing them to different names. They're using the same vaccine, but it's just changing the names to make them look as if they're actually they're a brand new vaccine. Okay, that's what they're doing. Yeah, and it was a movie. It's also an eye medication. Yeah. So again, like I said before, a movie and eye medication, movie, eye medication, control you. Do you guys get it now? Omicron. Think about it. Do you understand the whole story? Okay. Now you understand why I'm telling you guys this whole thing, what it means. So the variant does not really exist. The president of South Africa stated that 0.5% of his people are not sick. 0.5 means maybe somebody has a cold. That's it. Nobody's sick. And yet they're saying, oh, and Dr. Bonnie, she's going, oh, one came from South Africa, came into our land off the plane, and now that person has to lock down, and now everybody has to stay home now too. What? You know? Wendy Scott. Let's say goodbye. Sorry, we'll watch the rest later. Wendy Scott, if you ever decide to call in sometime, we'd love to hear from you. Maybe next week, if you're able to, we'll chat it up on the phone on Skype. Okay, if you're able to. Again, you can look for my name, Derek White Scott Cloud, on Facebook, on Skype. It doesn't cost you anything. It's not long distance. It's free. Let's see. What else is there? Because there are a lot of people from international countries. I like to get updated about what's going on. Because I got a cousin in Australia that lives in Australia too, in Auckland. She's there, and her husband passed away during the sea times. He passed away, and they would not let her see him when he passed. I was so pissed at that. That's my cousin, and I've met them both, and I've known for years. Um, yeah, I know. You know why people aren't seeing it? Because they don't want to. They're hiding. They don't want to see it. So I'm sorry, but that's just the way they are. Now, these are different types of viruses that did come out that were developed by the military, and one's called the Tuskegee syphilis study, and that was 1932, 1935, the Pellagra incident. 1940 was the 400 prisoners in Chicago are also infected with the malaria. They did it purposely, apparently, by the way. 1945 called Project Paperclip. I'm sure you guys know that. Okay. This is one here. 1947, the CIA begins to study of LSD. I'm sure you remember that stuff, right? No, I don't. 1950, an experiment to determine how susceptible an American city would be with a biological attack. The U.S. Navy sprays a cloud of bacteria from the ships over San Francisco, and many residents became ill with pneumonia-like symptoms. Gee, folks, that was back in 1950. Do you understand now? Okay, this has been practiced on to find out how they can go after you. The U.S. Navy releases mosquitoes infected with yellow fever over Savannah, Georgia, and Avon Park, Florida. Following each test, Army agents posing as public health officials test victims for efforts. Now, no one survived. Okay, victims. 1960. It's 1956. Now it's not 65 years ago. 1965. Prisoners of the Holmesburg State Prison in Philadelphia are subjected to dioxin, that highly toxic chemical compound of Agent Orange used in Vietnam. The men are later studied for development of cancer. Okay. 1964, U.S. Army dispenses Bacillus subtilis variant in Niger throughout the New York City subway system. More than 1 million civilians are exposed when Army scientists drop light bulbs filled with the bacteria onto ventilation grates. All you Americans have been experimented on for generations. You guys realize that, right? It's your American government. You know how all this started? How all this started? When your president, during the Second World War, brought in your 13 scientists from Germany. The agreement was that the American government will accept the win of the war. Okay, you guys become the heroes. You Americans become the heroes. You win the war, but the contract relates is, well, here's the deal. Because Germany was running out of money, Hitler needed money, so he went to Rothschilds for more money to keep the war going. And Rothschild says, no, we're done. You're going to go home, take your shit and get out. Right? Go hide. And we'll fake your death. Go and hide. Meantime, the deal was between your president back in that time. I don't know who it is. Who your president? I think it's your. I'm not sure. I'm a Canadian. I'm not sure who your president was then. Back in 1945. So basically, that deal was between the Germans and them, and they said, "You will give you those 13 scientists, and we want you to them to work for you at NASA. NASA. NASA is where they developed all of these sicknesses, folks. So those scientists have been experimenting on you guys for generations. Okay. In 1990, more. Go back here. I got to 1990. More than 1,500 6-month-old Black and Hispanic babies in Los Angeles are given an experimental measles vaccine that had never been licensed for use in the United States. CDC later admits that parents were never informed that the vaccine being injected into their children was experimental. 1990, folks. Hello. Do you guys get it now? 1994, Senator John D. Rockefeller issues a report. Rockefeller? Do you get it? Okay. Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Bilderbergs. Senator John D. Rockefeller issues a report revealing that for at least 50 years, the Department of Defense has used hundreds of thousands of military personnel in human experiments and for intentional exposure to dangerous substances. He admitted it out in the open. Nobody did a thing about it. Nobody did nothing. The U.S. government, 1995, the U.S. government admits that it had offered these war criminals and scientists. No, offered? What do you mean, offered? Something's missing here. Offered. Yeah. These war criminals and scientists who had performed human medical experiments, salaries, and immunity from persecution in exchange for data on biological warfare research. Number one, folks, why does anybody really want to do biological warfare research? We're in the middle of it right now. Everyone is in it again. This is a repeat. We're in the middle of it. Think about it. 1995, Dr. Garth Nicholson uncovers evidence that the biological agents used during the Gulf War had been manufactured in Houston, Texas, and Boca Raton, Florida, and tested on prisoners in the Texas Department of Corrections. Prisoners. It's called a scapegoat. The department, in 1996, the Department of Defense admits that the Desert Storm soldiers were exposed to chemical agents purposely. 1997, 88 members of Congress sign a letter demanding an investigation into bioweapons use and Gulf War syndrome. 1997. Okay. In the 14th century, I think you guys, it's good to see this. In the 14th century, or hear this, 14th century, the word pandemic is a Greek word meaning parry all local people, the crowd. Okay. Or sorry, pan all local people, the crowd. Pan all. Killed up to about half of Eurasia's population, known as the pestilence. The Great Mortality or Plague was a bubonic plague in Eurasia, back in 1346 to 1353, and 75 to 200 million people in Eurasia and North Africa caused by bacterium in the C19 as well. So, yeah, they bribed everybody. And Susanna, I understand your part. I mean, they try to get you to follow through, but there is actually, like I said before, there's actually a C-U-R-E for it. True C-U-R-E. That just has to be a matter of that'll come out and you know, and like I said before, you guys have listened to what I've shared with you. I really appreciate you listening in. If you guys can give me a response back, what your thoughts about I know about this history, like I said, I've got it right here on paper. This is my info page. Oh, I collect my stuff, man. I do my research. I'm not kidding around. I got 3 binders of these little booklets, but I do all my notes, and I keep on doing notes. So protect your rights, folks. Those who are actually living in Canada, protect your rights. actionforcanada.com. If you need help on anything, let me know. Okay, this was before the new, yeah. They're always wanting people to do a test on something. They'll say, okay, if you're going to work for us into the medical industry here, want you to put this in your arm. They even offered my wife. My wife told me today. So they even offered my wife to take this certain shot in her arm as a test, and she goes, no, you're not putting that in my arm, because she was dealing with hot flashes or something like that. I think it was hot flashes. And they said, here, try this, and then they'll take the hot flashes away. No, my mother did that. My mother took that jab at one time for the hot flashes, and she got worse because after they got her when she was 40, they gave her that jab. And then my mother, when she was around, I was 27 then, 26, 27, my mother got the jab for the hot flashes. And then when my mother turned 65, 66, no, 67, when she turned 67, she got it worse. It hit her so hard. She was having a fit because it was coming to the surface now. Because what those are for, they prevent it from coming to the surface from you women, from having your experience of heat, okay, of your hot flash. Instead of letting it go through, they put something in you to change you. And if you did get that needle, guess what? You start getting a mustache. Why do you think you get sideburns and mustaches from that jab? Think about it. Women don't turn into bearded people, bearded men, unless you get that little jab in you, okay, during your very first hot flash time. You're not meant to get that put in your arm. The med beds will be here. Actually, they're already here. Some of them actually are in some healing centers across the United States, but they're focusing on the elderly and the children right now. So that's going to be coming up. That'll be brought forth to public either by the end of this month or the beginning of 2022, for sure. But yes, they're coming because it's and again, a lot of the doctors and nurses are going to be retrained. Hospitals will no longer exist. No more hospitals. We're going to have healing centers, and yet everybody has to be initially trained properly. There will be people from what I understood, people from Venus, the planet Venus, that are the ones that developed the med beds, which are the Arcturians and the Palladians and the Sumerians. They're the ones that will be training you, or training those people how to utilize those beds and how to use them, how to heal people, how to work with them. And they're training the doctors and nurses how to use them. So again, we're getting our natural MED back, where the sugar pills no longer exist. So that will be helping quite soon. Wednesday EBS, that's going to be coming out not long from now, within this month. Yeah. Parts of it has come out, but it's come out different parts of the world. I mean, they're incrementing it. They're not doing it all at once. It's increments. So one country got hit, another country got hit, another country got hit, and then blah, blah, blah. But the big story they're going to do it one more time. I think we got hit here in BC. That's why we had the national flood, because we've had four bridges go out and four highways. How is it that we had 4 highways go out that nobody can come in, nobody can go out? 4 highways. It's because that's what was planned to flood the DUMBs, deep underground military tunnels. Okay, the satanic tunnels. That's what they had to do. So they had to have a mudslide. Some people did perish. They were there. I mean, that could not have been prevented. But it just so happened. certain things were supposed to be where no one got harmed, but it went too far because the fight was between the deep state and them at the same time. They're trying to prevent it, and the next thing you know, some people got in the way, and others, innocent people, got caught in the middle of it, and they lost their lives over it. Yeah, where there's cars that were buried, there were some lives that lost because of the. Um, there apparently some the mud came over and buried the people in their own car. They couldn't. They never did find them. They're still looking for cars. Still, they're finding more vehicles, but they're not telling the public how many are under that mud. I mean, it was big. But here's the problem, and here's one of the bigger problems: is none of those trees would have come down off the side of the mountain because our government was clear cutting above the mountain. Once you clear cut on the top of that mountain, your trees have no roots to cling on to. Boom, they all come tumbling down, and that's exactly what happened. So the new word is atmospheric peer rivers. Atmospheric rivers. Okay, the new word atmospheric rivers. It's amazing how they come up with some new stuff, don't they? New words. Okay. What do you think about ET wars over Mount Cypress on Saturday? There was actually. Oh man, that was. Did you guys see the? I got a friend of mine sent me the. Oh, how do you say it? There's a film of all this stuff, murky stuff that was in the sky, and it wasn't frost from the air because they'll say, "Oh, it's on the frost in the window." No, no, no. It was further away from the camera, but it was all murking up in the sky like this, and it's piling on each other. And I watched it on the film, recorded film, and I said, "That's not frost," because I know what frost looks like in a window. And it was away from the window, but it was out in the air, and it was all bunged up like it was transparent. Yeah, it was transparent, Catherine. Like this here, and then over here, and over there, and it was all in the sky. This is all what was dealing with the extraterrestrials. They were fighting amongst each other. They were fighting. It's a big fight. It's a war. Like I said, the good against the bad. This was all what's going on, right? But we're winning. We're still won and still have. My good friend uh, Johnny Enoch, him and his friend were up in uh, about a few months back. They went to see the Sky Highway. On their way back, they seen a big, huge hot dog shaped ship, and it was about the size of maybe 4 or 5 football fields. And it was living just on down the Sea to Sky Highway heading to Squamish, coming from Vancouver, North Vancouver. And they saw it in the sky, and they took a picture of it, about 2 or 3 pictures, and then all of a sudden they lost time. They went from they said they're coming home 10 o'clock, and then within a matter of minutes it was midnight. Gee, I wonder what happened. So Johnny has no answer for that. All he says, he doesn't remember, but he remembers that when he opened up his eyes, it was midnight. They took a picture. Next thing you know, it's midnight, and they're standing. So that means they're taking on the ship. I said, "Oh, okay. They had you on the ship. Guess the ship that belonged to the good guys. They had him on the ship because I told them they had to be on there. That they wanted him to. That ship. They wanted them to see the ship so then they can focus on their energy and bring them up. And it's like a little beam. Gotcha. Boom, you're in. Bring it back. There you go. That's how it works. But they're not going to harm him. Johnny, actually, he's busy doing Gaia, the TV series Gaia. Um, he's up in Hungary now. He's up in Hungary with his new girlfriend. And she's also very knowledgeable about all kinds of cool stuff, extraterrestrial, you name it. So those two are really tag teaming well together. He's got 2 TV series he does, and he's a pretty busy guy. So I'm very proud of him. I mean, he's got some really major set goals. So I'm glad the guy's doing well. Again, I tell people, the more you start messing with extraterrestrials, the more they'll pull you in and they'll start showing you stuff. That's how you learn. I watched the video Survivor of a mudslide, and he said 15 cars disappeared in the mudslide. Yes, there's more. And there's more. They're not telling you everything because a friend of mine works up there, and he said there's way more cars than you think, and not just cars, trucks. There's even a semi in there somewhere too. So semi or two. It was actually again, that wasn't supposed to come down in that one specific area, but again, there's a battle between two, and some part of it came down. They already had it planned, but the trees, like I said, they clear cut those trees a long time ago. It wasn't these guys that tried to bring up the water. It was the forestry clear cut the trees on top, which they weren't supposed to, and they did. And when you like talk about the old growth areas, they're not supposed to cut those old growth areas, and they went ahead and did it without. That's Trudeau. He wanted it done, so that's how shit works. So, anyways, lost a lot of lives are lost, but those lives will come back. They'll reincarnate back again. They'll have a new life. We always come back again. We're never without work to do. So, it's just the thing is that I'm sure everyone out there that were riding those vehicles that did that drive, there was a life plan for them. They didn't expect that to happen. It's unexpected. And I feel bad for all those people. I really do. So anyways, folks, I want to thank you guys for being part of this show. And I'm, like I said before, I was late coming in, but I think it's important everybody knows. If you want to find me, I'm on Telegram. And if you don't know who I am, you can find me on Facebook. Make me a friend on Facebook, where I do have my alien and the alien friend, the baby alien in my arms. That belongs to a young lady friend of mine who actually was at the paranormal conference a couple years back, and that's her little creature. And loved the little guy. And I said, "Do you mind if I hold on to him? I can take pictures with him?" And she says, "Sure." So I did. So he looked like a cute little baby, and I thought, I'm going to hang on to this guy. I said, "Where'd you get him? I want one." But I got my baby now. This is my big guy. So yeah. Anyways, guys, what else is there? That's pretty well it for the night. But talk to you guys next week. If you guys are interested in wanting to get readings from me, like a psychic reading, medium reading, give me a call. Go to my website, whiteskycloud.com, or just text me, email me, whichever you want to do it. Love to hear from you. And again, those are actually interested in wanting to see the files, to get the files, I'll send them to you. Anything else on top of that? Yeah, I think we're doing fine on that part. We're going to go out with a song, the very same song. This is actually a couple of guys actually wrote this song and got the words to honor the late John Lennon, who is still alive, by the way, and he'll be coming forward later on in the future with President Trump after he's reinaugurated as the 19th president of the new republic. But this is a guy who actually impersonated his voice, did a wonderful job. But the song itself is called Peace. And listen to the words carefully, because it has a meaning, folks. How do we request a file? Just email me, or you can actually text me or email me, and I'll send it to you. I would say email. Just my email is the best way to find the email is Ghost Talker. Oh, wait a minute here. Spirit Talker. Oh, which one do I want? Hang on. Let me check real quickly here. Which one would be easier? I would say would be this one here. This would be the best one. Do Spirit Chaser 1. Spirit Chaser 1 at gmail.com. Spirit Chaser 1 at gmail.com. Get a hold of me there and request the files. I've got 20 of them, 20 pages. So it's not just one. You get this. There's approximately about 250,000 plus people that were tried. 250,000 plus. 250,000 plus that were tried. Okay, including politicians. So yeah. Anyways, you guys take good care of each other, and we'll talk to you guys next week. In the meantime, thank you guys for joining me on Shadow Chasing, which is Between Two Worlds. Bye.
Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? It's one seed, one time, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live. together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Make peace, make peace. Alright, isn't it time for the start line? Isn't it time, mother, stop the crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together.